Hey folks, 4RC here. Got a quick video for you on GoPro mounting on Axial SCX10s. I've just finished my 2012 Duke Rubicon build and I'm really excited to go and get this out on the trail. And one thing I want to do is film it, not just the truck, but also have some shots on the truck driving along. Now this is my GoPro. I'm actually filming this video with the GoPro. This is another case for it. I was thinking about how to mount this on the truck. Often you might stick the GoPro on the top. This quick release mount that comes with it, it's a kind of bayonet thing here, and that goes onto one of these sticky mounted pads, and then you can slide that on, and that's the bracket on. I think this super sticky pad that I thought about sticking it on the roof, but I don't really want a pad stuck on the model. So I did some research, and what I've found is, and this is not a new idea at all, on the Axial Racing website in their blog section, there's a link down in the description, they have a nice little guide for how to make a side mount plate down here using an old servo box, and then you can stick your camera on it. And the cool thing with the quick release plate is you can unclip the camera, have it facing backwards or facing forwards. So I'm going to go off and make one of these, just quickly show you how to do it. So the first thing you need is some kind of flat plate, preferably with some curved down edges. Now the reason for that is we're going to use some threaded pipe here. This is Axial stuff, AX30518. You don't have to use this stuff, but it's really helpful, makes it much quicker to install. The reason is what we're going to do is actually fit this into the side of the truck where we've got these kind of rock bars here. We're going to be removing the rock bar, and then if I can get this into shot, on the bottom of the model where the rock bar is, we're going to slide these posts into that. If I can find the right Allen key. I think I've got my hex driver somewhere else, so let's use a small Allen driver. So we take the two kind of grub bolts out of here. You'll see what I mean. So that's those out, and then the rock bar just comes off. Now these Axial tubes are 6mm in diameter, and they are an absolutely perfect fit for these receptacles. They are a bit expensive. I guess if you could find some 6mm rod somewhere and drill it out and tap it yourself, you could make it that way as well. So that's what we're going to have on the side. We're going to have these two rods, and then we just need to make a platform that we can then stick the camera onto. And a bit of genius that they recommend in this Axial blog is if you take the lid for one of these, there's just about enough material in the lid that you can drill a hole and mount your screws through. So I'm going to go chop this lid off and get it part mounted and show you what we've done. Here's the Savox servo box lid removed, and now I'm going to just spot where I'm going to have a couple of holes drilled. The first pair of holes are going to come in on the side of the lid that's going to be closest to the truck, and they'll let the rods slide through, that's these rods here, up to the end, and then we'll have some smaller holes to put screws in. So these rock bar mounts are a bit floppy, so I'm just going to kind of stretch these out slightly so it'll be square, which is just about there roughly. This doesn't have to be super precise on the actual position of the bars, because as you can see there's this play here. Right, so that one's going to go about there. Right, so I need to go and drill some holes for that first of all. That's a 2mm pilot hole. We'll step that up to 4 and then finish off with 6mm, which should be hopefully clearance for the rods. Now looking at the size of the hole here and how much material I've got left, I think when I do this last hole I'm going to come off the edge of the plastic lid. Just about in position. My concern here is as we go through there, when it goes through, there's a really tiny amount of material. So I think once this is finally in, we might put some kind of bracing inside to strengthen this. Right, I've just drilled out these two holes. This is on the inboard side of the lid, and they're 6mm diameter now, and everyone's friend, the body reamer. I'm just cleaning out these holes a little bit. That should hopefully allow me to get these rods in. So the rod's going to go in one of the holes. There we go. All the way to the end. Now there is just a tiny amount of plastic in that hole there. Obviously bumping around, that's probably going to rip out. So I don't think you can rely on just a screw through there. I think what I might need to do is to actually drill through from the top and put a couple of screws into the rod that way, just to give it a bit more strength. Anyway, you get the idea to start with. So here is both rods in play, like so. So that's going to sit in like that. So the next thing to do is to spot these and then drill, not 6mm this time, but drill smaller holes, just enough to get some screws through to fix the rod in position. One there. Whoops. Where's a towel when you need one? Oh good, I've got a black finger for a few days. And one there. Right, I need to go and find some screws now. Right, just drilling out to 3mm diameter on the end here. These screws are M3. That's the size that fits in these axial rods that's pre-threaded already. So that should hopefully, yeah, it's just a nice tight fit there. We've got some swarf to clean off here later on. I'll probably spray this some, probably, can you guess? Yeah, probably black Plastidip actually. I tend to paint everything with Plastidip at the moment. Right, so 2 screws, like so. Let's pop the rod in. There we go, that's one. Just going to do a quick temporary fit so we can see how it's looking. I'll put the other end in there. I'm not sure how well this is going to hold up long term in use, but we shall see. Right, so there we go. That was really nice and easy to make. It's nearly finished, so we have this now. So into the rock bar mount points. There we go. Now, obviously, if you try to screw these in, these long grub screw bolts will not go in because you're fouling up on the bars. The rock bar has holes in that these are going to go through. So you've got a choice here. You can either drill a hole through these to replicate the holes in the rock bar, or if you've got smaller grub screws, you can actually just do a small grub screw and pinch on that. The problem with that is it's only a friction joint to stop this coming out. I think it's better to have the full engagement of that going through. So what I'm going to do is just push this home, check it all looks reasonably square. Now I can't push it home because there's not really enough space to get the GoPro on. I need to have this coming out slightly, more kind of like that, as far as possible actually. I should have probably purchased some longer rods. These are 6mm diameter by 98mm long. Might try and find some spaces or something to bring this whole thing out a little bit. Right, the Sharpie was not long enough to get in the holes to let me mark this out very well, so just getting a drill bit here. This is smaller than the size of the holes. I don't want to scrape any of the plastic off. Hopefully this is going to scratch a tiny bit on these. Yeah, you can't see it on camera, but I've got a tiny mark there now, so I now need to drill through that. Right, now to drill on this, obviously if you bring the drill straight in on this round shaft, it's very easy to slip off all the time and it's going to be hard to come down square. But if you take a file, if you've got one, what you can do is just to file down a flat, or you could use it with a Dremel if you've got one. just keep filing and make a slight flat on there, so drilling down is going to be easier. Right, some drilling later, and I've now got the holes in place. Now I've drilled through with a 2mm drill bit and then just gone up to 2.5mm on the second drill. Be careful of these holes, they are going to have burrs on the sides. Right, so I've gone all the way through, so in theory the little grub screw bolt thing should go through. So let's see if this works. Right, so I'm just finding where the hole is, just in there. There we go, that's the hole found. Right, bit of adjustment, and there we go. There is the mount. Now at the moment it doesn't stick out quite as much as I would like. So if I try to stick this pad on right now, if I put it right on the edge, you can see there the camera is very, very close to the side of the truck. I'm not sure how that's going to look on camera, so I might do some test filming with it just laying on there just to see if that side's going to look really in shot. Also, if I try to put it on, actually no, that's not going to work. You see, if I have the camera looking forwards, unless I fiddle around with taking this off and mounting the thumb screw on the other side, that's touching on the body shell. So really I need to make this slightly longer. What I'm going to do is get some spacer rods. Right, now fortunately from a previous video I did ages ago now on doing the 4-link suspension conversion, I have a bunch of these axial joint posts of different sizes, and then these threaded screws spare. So what I can do is I can extend this end and make it slightly longer to bring the whole thing out. Right, so I've fixed on a couple of joint posts. These are 35mm long ones, AXA 1424, and that gives us enough length now so that when this is mounted in place, we can stick the camera on and it's not too close to the car. The only problem is that that's going to work nicely. Obviously with the quick release you can unclip it and turn the camera around so we can look backwards. That should be fine. The whole thing's just quite floppy. I don't know if that's going to soak up vibration or make filming look even worse. It's basically because these rock bar mounts are quite soft plastic and they're only held on by one bolt. They're not really braced both sides. I just have to see how that goes, I think. I guess we could put some more bracing somewhere, or maybe even attach like a cord onto there that straps onto the roll cage, might brace it a bit better. Right, now that we've got the bracket made and working okay, we need to just finally stick the GoPro mount on here. You need to make sure this is grease free, so clean it with an appropriate cleaner. Be careful you don't use a solvent cleaner because you might melt your plastic lid. Right, now that we've got the mount made how we want it, you could paint this if you wanted to. I guess it might look better if it was black perhaps, but then again the camera's going to be on the truck not looking at this, so I'm going to leave it clear. So I need to stick this on now. I'm going to bring it out as far as possible. So we peel off our sticky pad and we're going to stick this on. Now this is a one-shot deal, so I want to get this right. I really want the camera as far off away from the truck as possible, and obviously going straight along. So I'm just going to eyeball this up like so. There is no lateral adjustment once you've stuck this on. So I want this in the middle of the mount that way, so in between the two mounting screws, and then looking straight ahead. What I can do on this Savox servo box, it's got a box around the logo, so I can line the front of the pad up with the logo there on that box and stick it down, and it's not coming off now. Right, so there we go. That's the mount in place. Right, so there we go. One simple to make home DIY GoPro bracket for your SCX10. We'll see how it works out on the trail. Might be wobbly, might be great. Thanks for watching. Hope it was useful. Any questions as usual, please pop them in the comments.